a lot of that is referring to the person with dementia, right? Or with the condition, that idea that we want to instill hope and that like these things matter. But also, there's a lot of fear that comes along with other people in their worlds and their families and in their friends. And I know it's impossible for you to know exactly who reads your books or what their motivations are behind that. But from what feedback you've been given, could you guess why people are drawn to your books? Is it that they have these conditions or they have someone in their life with the condition, or are they just curious?
It's really all of those, and the books provide different things for those different groups. So for people who have the conditions, whether it's Huntington's or ALS or Alzheimer's, the books really feel validating for them. It gives them a human face and voice, right? It's so often, people with Alzheimer's, for example, tend to be disregarded as, oh, that's a disease of the dying elderly. And
Mm,
so again, so many of these conditions and diseases are so dehumanizing. And so while the general public might know about ALS, for example, right? We all dumped buckets of ice water over our heads. So we all know the three letters ALS, and we may have seen, like, we know about Stephen Hawking, or we know about Pete Frates. We've seen, people in wheelchairs on the news, maybe for fundraisers. But do you know what it feels like to live with
mm,
ALS for even a day? And can you take the time to really inhabit what that would feel like? And that's the space that I have with you in a novel. I have room to slow things down and give you the felt experience. So I tell folks it's not enough to just know something about Alzheimer's, right? So it's like, oh yeah, I understand it's a disease where you increasingly forget things, and maybe some statistics. There are over 50 million people worldwide. Over 6 million people in the US are diagnosed today. So these things, but what do you feel about it?
mm.
And so for people who don't have the diseases, this is a chance for you to feel something about something maybe you've thought about or you're intellectually aware of. But now, after you read the story and you're presented with Alzheimer's disease, now you have a lived experience of having felt it, even if you don't know someone personally.
Mm.
If you do know someone personally, if you do caregive, these books also provide moments of aha moments of, oh, that's why my loved one is, frustrated at the end of the day and won't, quote, cooperate, or that's why they don't want to step into the shower. The rug looks like a hole in the ground and they're afraid they're going to fall through it.
Mm.
Oh, so I have these moments in the story that are very educational without you feeling like you're, sitting in on a webinar. You're
Yeah,
learning through, again, story, which doesn't feel, it's a sneaky way to teach.
yeah.
And then for people who are just curious, again, it's a chance to know something in a felt way about people with Alzheimer's. So the next time you come across someone at the grocery store who's in the checkout line and is having trouble figuring out how to pay for what their groceries, and they're taking a long time, instead of maybe jumping to like, oh my God, so frustrating, can you hurry up? Like, you might think, okay, this person might be struggling with dementia, and I'm going to give them a little more love and patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to have that consideration, to even have like the capacity to understand, oh, this moment might be one of those moments. And that was a question I was going to ask you, which is, if someone is curious, they don't have any experience with any of these conditions, what do you hope your books bring to their next interaction with someone? And I think you answered that, which is
Yeah,
just
because we
having
don't
that
know what we don't
consideration.
know, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're walking, especially at different ages when we're young, right? I mean, these books, it's so cool because a lot, my readers tend to be women. Yeah, women are like the lifelong learners. And but I always assumed that my readership would skew much older. And I do have that readership, but about half of my readers are under the age of 45, which I think is really cool because young people are learning a level of empathy about conditions that they may or may not have been exposed to yet, that will then give them the tools of compassion when they encounter folks in the world, whether it's in their own family or people that they are just connected to in other ways. um, yeah, I mean, this is part of why I do what I do. I'm sticking around as a novelist rather than going back to the bench doing research in a lab, because I feel like this is a really unique way
Mm.
to educate the world about how do we care about people with these diseases? Again, it's like not enough to know about it. How do I care about you when you have Alzheimer's disease?